Good day, Canada. Good afternoon, Asia. Good morning to other parts of the world. My name is Alex Davidson, and in our today's webinar, we'll cover probably the hottest topic of all, or almost all, newcomers to Canada: how to find the very first job in our country. We'll, of course, tell you what FCE means, how to get one, how to approach the job search, where to go for assistance. And just to make clear for everyone, we'll talk about the first job arrival to Canada, which means this is for those already in our country or those who are coming here soon in permanent resident status. Everything you would hear today is pretty much my personal opinion, my personal outlook, or our team's outlook, definitely not a call to action. But since we hear those questions almost every single day, like what would happen with me after I relocate to Canada? Like, how can I approach that? And at the end of the day, let's be honest, coming to another country, however wonderful this country is, technically it's a step into the abyss. Okay, you don't know what to expect, or almost don't know. You have no idea how your previous work experience would be considered, how to find the first job, how to survive, and what to expect. So this is what this webinar is about. I will not be talking about opportunities for those who are in other countries, because I personally don't believe that it's always possible to find a job in Canada when you're outside of Canada. Typically, it's not the right direction. I mean, you could try looking for it, but definitely um, it's like 1 out of 100 or 1 out of thousands. So we'll focus more on the topic of where you can find your first job before after you arrive to Canada. So say you landed, and where should I go? What should I do? Of course, we got hundreds of people for this webinar today, so please be patient, because I know some of you know more, others know less about the topic. I will try to start with the very basics information. I will share the useful resources, and we'll talk about the human approach. So as I said, there would be more of my personal outlook and my team's outlook, how we see our newcomers, how we see our customers and friends when they come to Canada and when they are looking for a job. So where they find it and how they actually approach this topic. Now, well, of course, you may ask whether it's reasonable to start a job hunt, as I said, before you come to Canada. Of course, you should try this just because you must never give up. There's always a chance that you are one of hundreds of candidates abroad who finally would manage to secure an employment in Canada before coming here. But getting down to the reality and talk about the looking a job in Canada after you come and receive your PR status. So remember, only a small percentage of candidates find a job while being outside of Canada. In fact, that is technically less than 1% of those who were managed to secure the job before arrival. Mostly these are IT specialists who already work up relationship with employers in Canada. That could be technical specialists, that could be highly specialized engineers, but usually, well, it's highly difficult to find a job before you arrive. Well, another category of candidates who succeed in remote job search is people who have very close friends or very close relatives in Canada, because sometimes friends can provide invaluable assistance in securing employment, in talking to employment. Not sure how it works, but sometimes, yeah, it helps. So if you're not an IT freelancer, if you're not a highly specialized engineer, if you don't have the wonderful friends who would go and find a job for you, well, in this case, let's get down to the reality. We're talking about the situation when you come and you find a job. All right. So um, here's the statistics, the basics one you would see on a slide. Only a tiny portion of all immigrants find their job before they arrive. But at the same time, a tiny portion of newcomers are unable to find and secure themselves a job during the first. So remember, when that amount of money in your pockets, which will help you to establish in Canada. And this is not some sort of virtual numbers which are given to you by Minister of Citizenship and Immigration. No, that's the amount of money which you should have in order to sustain your living before you find a job. Usually, like, again, my own outlook, 99% of people would be able to secure at least the first job in Canada within the 3 months after arrival. It's highly possible, it's highly doable. You just have to follow the initial instructions, the initial ideas, and I will be sharing those with you today. So let me tell you what Canadian employers want to see when it comes to hiring, okay? This is what we usually call FCE, that's first Canadian experience. Here's the dilemma. Any employer, of course, wishes to hire an employee with some work experience in Canada. But at the same time, when you're a newcomer, you don't have Canadian experience by definition, right? So what should you do and how to cope with the trouble? I would say, first of all, get used to the fact that your first position in Canada will not be of the same level as your current job position. Okay, take it, right? It's cold, it's harsh, but it's truth. Okay. In other words, if you are, say, a manager or senior developer, a tax accountant, whoever you are, your first job will most likely be of a much lower responsibility level, or even in another field. Okay, again, it's a first job, swallow it. One effective way of obtaining that FC is volunteering. It's very popular in Canada, and probably where I would go personally if you're looking for volunteering experience. So say you have plenty of money in your pockets, you have some time for volunteers, so you would get a sense of Canadian job market. I would probably go to YMCA because they virtually exist in every city and every town in Canada. They provide multiple volunteering opportunities, and that's why FCE is so valued by Canadian employers. The answer is pretty simple. An employee with previous experience in Canada has good understanding of Canadian approach to work. So that's employer to employee relationship, teamwork, etc. Because employer otherwise will waste time shaping new employee to meet common Canadian values. Trust me, I've seen situations, people come into my office calling me, hey buddy, how you doing? I'm looking for a job. Excuse me, I'm not your buddy. That's not the work attitude in this country, right? That's not the common one. Maybe in some places it would be okay, but I highly doubt it, right? So whenever people are looking at your resume, of course, they want to see sort of Canadian experience or volunteering experience, or at least something you were doing in this country. It's absolutely, there is no shame to start at the lower level. Just be mindful, temporary. Have to start somewhere. Okay, that's the initial step. Now, another question which is commonly asked is the question related to diplomas and certificates, how to translate them, present them to future employees, employers in Canada. If that apostille, sometimes the asking is required by Canadian employers. Fortunately, the answer is quite simple. Canadian employers in 99% of cases do not give a dime about your diplomas at all. Unless you graduated in Canada, you have a Canadian diploma, and that wasn't just a college. That was a university, for example, and that was like highly praised university, University of Toronto, University of Waterloo, etc., etc. So any employer in here usually cares most about what you can do rather than about university you graduated from, and be prepared to demonstrate good job ethics, excellent knowledge and skills, not your diplomas and certificates. That's what I see virtually every single day. I see resumes full of those credentials, certificates, abbreviations, MCT, MWE, whatever that means has no value for me. What employers are looking for is job experience, okay? So when you're approaching your first job in Canada and you want to present yourself in a good shade, I would strongly recommend to put those credentials at the bottom of your resume. It's not qualify, but don't expect that your diploma will impress an employer to an extent when you would be employed. All you have to do is just to include information about your education in your resume. Most likely that would be sufficient, right? In any case, don't of course leave your diplomas behind when you come to Canada, because if you decide to continue your education in Canada, or if you decide to develop professionally in Canada, you will need them for sure. I can give you an example. In engineering, you would decide to certify as an electricity professional in some of the provinces, you might require originals of your diplomas because they would be used to validate your previous experience so that you would be able to develop in the future. Okay. Job bank or not job bank. Quite a common misconception among the candidates who are willing to immigrate to Canada that it's mandatory that mandatory registration in Canadian Job Bank will for sure result in employment. It's not so, and here's why. The reason is simple. Since registration in Job Bank is mandatory for all express entry specialists and applicants, this database has poor reputation among Canadian employers. They know very well that almost all of the job bank profiles belong to overseas candidates. The fact by itself is sufficient to deter majority of employers from this port. No employer is willing to pick a candidate somewhere on the other continent, prepare and file tons of paperwork, pay processing fees, defend the intention to hire an individual from abroad, and wait for many months for him or for her just to come to work. Okay, so instead, of course, any employer with open positions wants employees hire in that position. Job bank is a good source of employers looking for mid-level. It's a good source for looking for employers hiring for highly skilled positions. But I would say if you have just landed and you're up to securing your first job, my personal opinion, I would definitely skip the job bank. Okay, because I don't imagine the employer with the low skilled position putting an ad on the job bank just for the sake of hiring, I don't know, McDonald's team member. Right? Doesn't make any sense, like seriously. So I will just skip it and focus on a local market, on your city or a town you're in. Now, getting closer to the point of the survival job. So that's the first job. Okay, so many newcomers in Canada, they go through what is commonly called a survival job. Okay, as the name implies, it's a sort of employment merely for the purpose of maintaining minimum necessary family budget. Examples of survival job are janitor, laborer, helper, cashier, I don't know, salesperson, delivery guy, mover, and so on and so on. Okay. So why people go to such a job? Just because such job is easy to find, and during first months in Canada, it allows people to sustain their living, to receive that first Canadian experience, and to look for a more decent job without a fear of personal bankruptcy. Another misconception is that, sorry, I will focus more a little bit on the survival job here. So, okay, another misconception among the newcomers in Canada is that survival job, you can find it online by browsing classifieds at home, calling numbers advertised on Kijiji and Craigslist, like sending out resumes and waiting for an employer to come. Okay. Just a second. It looks like this slide has disappeared. Oh yeah, here we go. Okay. Sorry, small technical glitch. There we go. When you're looking for a survival job, please, for God's sake, forget about the online ads. Go outside and explore your neighborhood. Chances are that you would see some help wanted signs, and in one of the plazas around. This sign simply means that they're hiring for low-skilled position and they're hiring right now. Look at the signs on doors of convenience stores, dry cleaners, other small businesses around. Don't forget to pay visit to fast foods around. McDonald's, Tim Hortons, Harvey's, Burger King, Second Cup, like Country Style, and many others. Fast food is pretty much at every corner, and many of them are hiring right now. They always hire, okay? Don't hesitate to come in and ask, and trust me, your proactive approach would be highly rewarded. So you can consider working, say, as a construction worker, general labor, or helper. Don't expect to find a vacant position somewhere on Kijiji or in a newspaper. Again, take note of every construction site around, go there, talk to any foreman. Many people would find their first job right away, like at this second. So ready to work, coming in. Okay. Just remember that most of the newcomers in need of survival job really fast, usually within a week or two. So if they do not just sit at home browsing at job portals, you will probably be able to launch such a job successfully. Here's my personal outlook at it. I don't know if you follow our videos on the YouTube. What we did like a week and something ago, we decided to prove this concept and show you how to find that Canadian job like right away, how to find that first job right away. So what we did, I personally went to fast foods. I personally am going to construction side. I'm personally going to the local businesses and trying to secure my job. Of course, I'm not using my real name. Of course, I'm not dressed like. What I'm trying to do is pretend that I'm a newcomer in Canada and I'm trying to find the first job. We haven't published the results yet. I can just share with you an idea. I was accepted in a few positions. I was even not accepted into one, and I will share that interesting experience with you. But all in all, I'm not a big fan of construction works, so excuse me here. And what we did, we tried to focus more on fast foods, and McDonald's was the most promising one, like compared to the Tim Hortons. Sorry, teams, but McDonald's is my choice number one in here because they were the fastest ones to hire. We were looking at laundries. We were looking at small stores and convenience stores where help was needed. Absolutely wonderful. And we were looking for the waiter and waitress job. For the waiter and waitress, we actually managed to find a couple places where it pays more than $13 per hour, which is pretty decent, I should say, plus tips. Come on, can make yourself like up to $20 per hour, which is very nice, right, for the first job. And another thing which I will probably pay attention to, in one of our videos we discussed like how a newcomer could survive, not just survive, to live, say, in a family of 3 or 4 where both of the spouses are working at McDonald's and earning about like 12-13 bucks per hour. It is quite possible. Moreover, it will not be a survival. It would be a pretty decent living where you would have a car, you would have your own property, and don't hesitate to approach such jobs. That's the main point here. Now, get into the non-survival job, because I'm trying to grasp like all the points and all the options here. Say you already got a survival job, you got your peace of mind, now it's time to look for something more serious. As I said, expect to find a position matching the one you just left in your home country. You would be extremely lucky if you can get it, but 99.9% no. Instead of course, be prepared to start from a lower level, consider moving to Canada. A temporary downshift in your career, sometimes it could be a serious downshift for up to 1 year, but again, don't worry, it's not forever. Official statistics, it clearly demonstrates that immigrants in Canada of experience, what you have to do is just to adjust this experience reality. Okay, the first advice on how to find a good job is quite simple. Again, talk to everyone, let your environment know that you're looking for a new job. Okay, it's well known, but still I see many people not sort of aware of it or not using all of these resources, but still about 20% of Canadian labor market, just 20% is exposed by job search portals like newspaper classifieds, etc. Estimated 80% of so-called hidden job market positions which are never advertised to general public. 80% is a huge market, and the only way to get a foothold in there is to let that hidden market know that you're a job seeker. That's why you need to talk to everyone. Sooner or later, someone would hear that there is an opening and would recommend it to you. Personal experience, okay? So one of our assistants was found like pretty much amongst the friends and friends of friends. So we told everyone around that, look, we are looking for a person at the reception desk, and if you know somebody, please refer that individual to us. Simply because, well, A, it's much faster. B, it's much cheaper, right? And C, well, the position, so we had plenty of time, and instead of like relying on some sort of HR guys who would assist us to find the right rep, we got a John who knows Bob, who knows somebody else, and at the end of the day, there's the person who might have been working at the reception desk, mostly welcome, step in and discuss it. Another personal experience is the individual who worked with us about 2 years ago. He's studying right now, but anyways, wonderful person. He's been staying with us for a while, and I tried to recall how he found us, and it turned out that he actually stepped into the office and left the resume at the front desk. That was highly proactive. That was highly interesting, and we all respected the person who had guts to step into the office without the ad where we are hiring. So he just stepped in and said, okay, this is my resume, please have a look. Maybe you would recall me when you decide to hire. So not saying that everybody should do that, but that was quite a bold idea. I loved it, I should say. Okay. Do not, of course, forget to update your resume, right? One of the most common mistakes is that I see outdated resumes. I see people coming to us with a resume which says like from 2008 till present position, and in fact this position is somewhere abroad. So questions like, you're not abroad, how come that you're sending me this resume? Okay. Um, Of course, the science of resume writing is outside of scope of this webinar because I believe we discussed it before. We had a couple of webinars on resume writing, on successful resume writing. So if you want to have a look at them, just get to our YouTube channel where you can find the previous videos. Now, if you need help, okay, there's one important thing every newcomer should know. You should never pay to anyone in Canada for a promise to find a job for you, okay? Do not fall into that trap. Remember, all job placement agencies, they receive compensation from employers, not from candidates, not from employees. It's the law, okay? You cannot give anyone even $1 for the service of finding a job for you. It's just impossible, okay? If you run into someone promising you an employment contract for a fee, turn around, go away, 100% scam. Okay, in Canada, there are free newcomer assistance services that will help you to find your feet in Canada. They'll teach you how to create a masterpiece resume, how to plan your future career, how to look for a job like Canadian, how to discuss your position with the employer, how to negotiate your contract, etc., etc. So we have actually joined the most essential newcomer services under one roof. Just come to us. Again, that would be free, of course. Receive free assistance, including resume workshops, career coaching, free studies, and free job placement. So we have a separate team. It's called LP Service. That's the website, lpservice.ca. It's dedicated one-stop service for newcomers to Canada, for those who are already in Canada. Again, already in Canada, in a legal status of permanent resident, of a refugee, or a citizen. And for these individuals, we can assist. We can assist them with the, as I said, resume writing, with the job search. We can assist them with the free study programs, which lead you to a job placement. And if you're looking for that support, we would be able to do that, which I promised you. Okay, I just tried to nail it down. Thousands of okay, if there is one resource which lists those job ads under one roof, that will probably be Kijiji. I don't like Craigslist personally, because it's sort of a weird, and Kijiji usually has lots and lots of survival jobs. Okay, use it for that. I don't know serious companies which are putting ads on Kijiji, not so many of those probably, but for a survival job, you could definitely find some. Okay, even in construction site, you could find lots of career opportunities in there. Just select the right session and go for it. Job bank, well, everybody knows it. I don't want to stop on it. Indeed.ca. I love Indeed simply because I found an app for what was that? That was on my iPad. I found the app for Indeed. And well, it's quite nice one, I should say. So I will probably install it even before coming to Canada. Thousands of job postings, mostly mid-level, mostly high level, simply because they're not free for the employer. And that will probably be either the second or the third job of yours. Newcomer settlement services or settlement agencies. This is the link to Ontario settlement agencies and settlement services, those who would be able not necessarily to provide you a job, but they will provide you the valuable resources like where to go, what to look for, like different services which might work for you. LP service, well, best programs for the newcomers, of course. Mostly welcome to come in, guys. Discuss options with us. Again, please, this is for those who are already in Canada, again, already in legal status, permanent residents, or citizens, or refugees. Okay, we will not be able to help, say, at least at this moment, to every international student, okay, and to worker. It's still 24 working hours per day, okay, and we will not be able to assist everybody. We're trying as much as possible, but at this time we decided to focus more on the newcomers. So say if you immigrated through us or you immigrated any other way, doesn't really matter. LP service will be able to help you. Our team, we discussed it before, but separate slide. For God's sake, do not pay anybody for employment, especially my friends from Asia. Never, ever, ever do that. If somebody promises you to secure the job in Canada, if somebody tells you that he or she will secure, say, LMIA for you, will help you to find the employer, turn away, run, okay? This is scam, 100% scam. You would lose your job in Canada if somebody finds it out. Okay, you might be deported from here. Don't ever do that. Okay, just don't. Do not pay anybody for employment. Well, just to stand a slide about immigration to share with you guys. There are hundreds of programs, virtually hundreds of those, like provincial, federal ones. We discuss them all the time, and I would say that it would be wise to consider all of those. Okay, do not fall into the trap when you are focusing on employment only. I would say I would probably separate these two topics. Immigrate is one story. Okay, if you don't have enough score in Express Entry system, ask us how to get additional 600 points, say in provincial programs or in territorial nomination. Okay, what you can do to increase your score. And another story is employment. Get your employment when you come to Canada. It's free. Hundreds of companies ready to help you out. We will be able to help you out for free. Okay, we do not charge, of course, anything for that. Context, further steps. I'm repeating it all the time. You can come to us directly if you'd like to. If you're in Bangladesh, guys, you're extremely lucky, like seriously. Visa Center is probably the most trusted company we have, our most trusted partners right now. You can come to them directly. They provide absolutely professional assistance. They will be able to take your hand and go with you till the end, okay? They're our trusted partners, and I'm absolutely delighted that we have them. Okay, feel free to contact them directly if you're from Bangladesh. If not, drop me a line, send us an email. We'll discuss it over with you, whatever questions you got. Well, like the webinar, give us plus on Google Plus if you use it. Find us on the Facebook, give us your likes, share it. That's the way we assist people. That's for free, and we are trying to do as much as possible for you to provide that free assistance and free guidance. We really appreciate when you like us. We really, really appreciate that. Next time, we will talk about business opening in Canada. There are ways to immigrate to our country through opening the business in here. Not necessarily standard ones. I'll be able to shed a light on those. We'll discuss it over. I really hope this webinar was useful for you. It's slightly longer than usual, but I had so much to share with you. Follow us on the YouTube. And again, if you're from Asia, look, come to the Visa Center, our partners. If not, come to us. We'll talk it over. On this point, well, stay tuned with us, and goodbye.